Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. nzpocketguide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, the 4th of February. That's right, we're already in February. Already lost a 12th of our year. How crazy is that?
We didn't do anything. We just
lost it.
That's the way to look at it, for sure.
All right, so this is the NZ Travel Show. This is the show hosted by myself and Laura. We are the two talking heads behind NZ Pocket Guide, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. And our aim with these live shows is to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. So for an hour right now, you can go in the live chat and ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. And so in the live chat this morning, we're starting with the beautiful Fabio, our unofficial producer of this show, all the way from Vienna, Austria. What is he saying?
Yeah, he says, Morena from Vienna. Ooh, I like how that has a ring to it. Hope you are well. After weeks of work without the possibility to check in, I have some time today.
Nice. We're glad to have you on board. He says official, not unofficial. Sorry. But you're officially unofficial. That's what I like about you. And we also have Mark D, which is slowly becoming a recurring viewer, isn't he?
Yes.
Is he all the time, eh?
Yeah, it's great to have you back once again, Mark D. He says, morning, Robin and Laura.
I just can't recall. Mark, where are you from? Usually I kind of say, like, I try to remember where people are from. So yeah. Cool. So today we're going to have a theme, but we'll try something different. So as soon as we kick off with the theme, there's going to be a little bit of background music. So first up, I'd love to hear from you guys if it's too loud or if it's too low. Just, adjust that level. But also, I also want you guys to vote to see if you want me to have a little bit of background music or not. So don't be afraid. When we start the theme of the week, we're going to have a video playing and everything at the same time, like what we did last week and all the other weeks. And yeah, there's gonna be some background music. We'd love some feedback on that. We just want to make it, a bit maybe more exciting. But, now we have the videos. Are we putting the music? Like, is it becoming a full-on show or what?
Do we jazz it up or?
Yeah, do we jazz
it down?
So jazz it up or jazz it down. All right. Fabio says, "How are you guys? I haven't seen you in a while. My fault." No worries.
No,
I mean, busy with work, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, we've missed your input when it comes to talking about, obviously, footwear, that sort of thing. So, yeah. but it's great to have you back.
Yeah, especially in the Patreon calls. So now that we're doing the Patreon calls, as a group calls right here. Yeah, there has been some miss out as we talked hiking shoes at some point. So yeah,
your absence has been felt. That's for sure. Mark D says that he's from Maryland,
USA. Okay, I need to try to remember that. A lot of our Patreons are from USA. Actually, I find it quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, Adil says Kiara, Robin, Laura, and all viewers. It's classic sign in. I like it.
Yep.
And Fabio says, I heard a part of hiking shoes in the 50 plus items video. That is true. There is, we talk about hiking shoes. Yes. Okay. So, come up with all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. Go crazy with that. In the meantime, we'll get started with our theme of the week. So this week, we're going to do the complete travel guide to Christchurch. And to do so, we are going to treat ourselves to a beautiful video of the Akara Harbour cruise. Because, well, Akara is only a short drive away from Christchurch, and it is one of my favorite things to do there. So I know it's a bit cheating, it's not Christchurch, but it's absolutely amazing. Anyway, how to plan the best trip to Christchurch, which is Ototahi in Maori. It's a beautiful city located on the south island of New Zealand, the largest city of the south island of New Zealand, of course. And it's said to be the most English city outside of England. So today we're going to be talking about what to do there. We're going to be talking about the accommodation places there. We're going to be talking about specific tips for each different travel style that you may have. And also we're going to answer some frequently asked questions and give you all insiders tips of Christchurch. So let's get started. And Fabio says, Christchurch is a really cool city. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it is a very cool city. All right, so how's the volume right now? So this is when the music is playing. Is it too loud? Is it okay? What's the musical volume right here for you guys? How do we like it?
It would be great to hear from our producer as well.
The music is drowning my voice. That's what Adil says. So
no.
Yeah, is it too loud for everybody? If it is, I can just move it down a little bit.
How's that for everyone?
Yeah, is that better now?
Is the volume okay? Can you still hear us? Can you hear us adequately? It also needs to be a pleasant listening experience.
Yeah. Also, is it horrible music?
Yeah. Do you like the music?
In the meantime, so we're doing something relatively romantic, Laura and I. We're taking a nice little cruise over there with a bunch of other tourists. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's delightful.
Look at that. So
Adil says better now. Fabio says now it is great. Okay, cool. We found the sweet spot, it would seem.
Nice.
Awesome. Cool.
Nice. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. So minus 45 is what we tend to like. Okay. Understood. I therefore need to change on here. No, I just need to remove that. Boom. Okay, we should be good then.
Cool.
Okay, right. So, since the music is there, I'd love for you guys to vote to tell me if I need to keep the music or if I shouldn't keep the music. In the meantime, good level, good music for the background, says Mark. Okay, I like it.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, ask us your questions about traveling in New Zealand. That's awesome. Watch us enjoy Akara Harbour, beautiful Akara. We may be lucky to see some dolphins or anything throughout this video, but we will be starting with our coverage of Christchurch. So Laura, let's begin with some frequently asked questions about Christchurch. So what about I ask you the question, you give me the answer?
Okay, yeah, sure, let's do that.
Okay, so first up, very basic. Is Christchurch worth visiting?
I think, yes, it is worth visiting, especially if you haven't visited a New Zealand city. It is very much, it has lots of, despite being the most English city outside of England, blah, 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 it actually has a lot of aspects to it about the New Zealand culture. So definitely worth visiting if you haven't been to a large city in New Zealand thus far on your trip. However, if you have been to quite a few already and you have limited time on the South Island, then actually, admittedly, usually we would say Christchurch can be skipped. There tends to be a lot more unique attractions around the South Island compared to what Christchurch has to offer. So that's a candid answer for you.
All right, so what is Christchurch most known for?
Okay, so it's a nickname known as the Garden City, and this is because it has an abundance of beautiful gardens and parks. Most famously, it has the Botanic Gardens, which we will mention a little bit later as a thing to do, but it has lots of lovely green spaces. It's also famous for having some of the worst earthquakes that have occurred in recent history in New Zealand. So even the effects of that can still be felt throughout the city. You will still see some buildings that are still being rebuilt, especially some of the heritage buildings of Christchurch are very slowly being reshaped and put back together. So yeah, that's also what it is kind of known
Very
for.
slowly. All right, so a very quick one. Where is Christchurch located?
Christchurch is located in the South Island. It's located in the Canterbury region, so it's on the east coast, sort of in the middle of the South Island.
So speaking of that, when people talk about Canterbury and Christchurch, is that the same thing? Are they interchangeable terms?
So they're not interchangeable terms. So Canterbury is the region Christchurch is in, so it's a region on the South Island, and Christchurch is the city. So they're two different things.
And what's the weather usually like in Christchurch?
So the average temperature in Christchurch is 11.9 degrees Celsius.
Which is 53.5 degrees Fahrenheit.
And its yearly average rainfall is 604 millimeters, which is...
Very rainy in inches. No, 23.8 inches.
But we do have a full guide on NZ Pocket Guide, which is dedicated to what the weather is like in Christchurch. So,
And the link is in the description of this video. And so finally, on the frequently asked questions, how do you get to Christchurch, Laura?
there's quite a few ways. So Christchurch is on State Highway 1, so that's like the main highway of New Zealand. So you can, if you are traveling all the way around the country and down the country and up the country, whatever, it's pretty much on the main highway there. It also has an international airport, so you can actually access Christchurch from international destinations such as Australia, but also very easily from domestic flights from Auckland and from Queenstown in particular will have the most frequent flights there. It's also on the main bus network, so if you are taking the intercity bus or many other bus tours as well, have Christchurch on the itinerary, so that's very easy to access by bus. And then finally, you can actually access Christchurch by train. So if you're coming from Picton or Greymouth, then you can take the train from those two destinations.
Here you go. So next up, we're going to be talking about what to do in Christchurch, including, well, that beautiful Akaura Harbour. It better be on the list, Laura. We'll see. All right. Let's go back to the live chat. So Mark says, initial question for me, do ATMs have a bank fee when getting cash out at an ATM? And what is the average fee if there is one? So it really depends. If it is like private one, which are not a banked name, there is usually a fee, and it's usually about $5. However, there is most importantly your fee from your US banks, right? Even if they say you can withdraw money without a fee, right? It is important to keep in mind that your bank will give you a slightly less good exchange rate. So, you usually want to kind of withdraw in bulk or bring some cash originally. But yeah, if it's a main bank name like Westpac, ANZ, BNZ, those kind of things, you shouldn't have an actual token bank fee. It should just be within the exchange rate. Fabio says, my question is in regard to the dock. How is funding going? Did they have to close smaller tracks as they announced a few months ago? I haven't heard anything about that yet. No, there's been no extreme news like,
No.
we're closing some tracks and everything. However, there's a lot of like project of renovation stuff that they wanted to do on smaller tracks, which are definitely on massive hiatus. They used to actually be able to say like, oh yeah, in 2 months that's going to be repaired, in 2 months that's going to be repaired. Now it's mostly the main hikes, like, we're talking Hooker Valley, all those kind of, all the Great Walks, or those kind of things. Those one get repaired really quickly. The other one, it's kind of like, that'll get repaired when I get repaired.
And there was talk about opening the Humperidge track, which is in Fiordland National Park. There was talks about that becoming a great walk, but no sort of official news of the opening of that to come. So it just feels like any news of things happening is just gone quiet. There is just white noise.
Fabio also say, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, here's our producer. He wants his official title. Yeah. Also, I'm really intrigued by the vote. So we basically have a half right now. So 57% want the music in the background, and 43% don't want it. Interesting. I really thought you'd be much more one-sided. Like either everybody like it or nobody likes it. But a 50-50 vote right here. That's not gonna help me make a decision, everybody. What's going on? We need you guys to be more polarized. Like,
just have an opinion and just everyone be the same.
Cool. And Fabio says Hump should become a great walk. They even have a newsletter.
Newsletters, yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully, it's just it takes time.
I feel like they sort of announced that it would become a great walk, like even a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now. But yeah, just been slow progress on that one.
All right, so as you all continue with your travel questions, we will continue with our coverage of Christchurch. So let's talk about what to do in Christchurch. So if you want to fill your cameras full of photos of beautiful Christchurch, well, here is the must-do in the area. So Laura, what are the top experiences in beautiful Otautahi Christchurch?
Well, I already mentioned that it is the garden city, so I'd say like the number one thing to do there is to explore the Christchurch Botanic Gardens. There's really a lot to these gardens, lots of themed areas, like bit of bushwalks, big open spaces, especially if you've got kids, easy sort of parks and stuff to access, duck ponds, all that sort of thing. It's really cool. So yeah, that's definitely a thing to do, and it's free. Another thing to do is if you want to, go and escape to a sort of more natural looking area that New Zealand is more renowned for, then nearby is the Port Hills, which you can either hike up, there's various different hiking trails there, or there is a gondola to get you up there, the easy way, so there's that as well. There are various markets at Christchurch. One very popular one is the Riccarton Farmers Market, but there's also the Riverside Market that happens all the way through the week, whereas the Riccarton Farmers Market is only on a weekend. There's also delectable eateries in Christchurch, so you can find a big bunch of eateries, especially at the Terrace, which is an area near the Avon River, along Victoria Street, as well as the Riverside Market, which is more of your sort of street food vibe. There's also some beautiful beaches to discover around Christchurch.
And to surf at.
Yes. So you can swim or surf or just sort of walk in the beautiful sands at Sumner Beach or New Brighton Beach would be a couple of the sort of easiest ones to access. But you can also surf at them, and we do have an article about the different surf spots in Christchurch on nzpocketguide.com as well, so check that out. You can even go on a guided tour to one of the Lord of the Rings filming locations, known as Edoras in the Lord of the Rings, with hassle-free tours. So there's a really cool tour that they do. We do have a video on the channel if you want to check us out.
I was hesitating within this one and this video.
Yeah?
The Patreons voted for that one.
Okay, cool. And then finally, the video you are seeing right now on screen, you can take a day trip or a couple of days trip to Akaroa, which is really, that's about a 2-hour drive from Christchurch, and basically you have to pass through Christchurch to get to it, so it's basically the ideal base to go for a beautiful day trip to Akaroa, do a beautiful harbour cruise or see some little blue penguins.
Which is a great thing to do also if it's raining, because the weather is so changeable around New Zealand. If you drive like an hour and a half away from Christchurch, you may have really good weather. And speaking of that, some of the rainy day activities to do in Christchurch quickly?
Yeah, so of course Christchurch has a museum, the Canterbury Museum. Usually it is located right beside the Botanic Gardens, but at the time of filming this in 2024, they have moved to a pop-up location as they are renovating the building that the Canterbury Museum is located in. But otherwise, it's a free museum and a good all-weather activity. Another all-weather activity is the International Antarctic Centre, which is located near Christchurch Airport. We do have a video again on this channel of us doing that experience if you want to check out what that's all about. And then another rainy day activity, you can jump onto the Christchurch City Tramway. So there is a tramway going around the just around the city centre, and you can get a hop-on, hop-off pass to, you know, make your way around the city centre in style and do a bit of sightseeing.
There you go, and that's how we're spotting dolphins right here on camera. We're going to talk about the things to do at night.
Okay, so Christchurch being a city, of course, you can go and see a show. A couple of great places to go see a show would be the Isaac Theatre Royal or the Piano Centre for Music and Arts. Also, Christchurch has a good, vibrant nightlife scene, so if you want to go out on the town, then St. Asaph Street and Popular Lane are two great places to find that sort of nightlife scene. And then finally, the Christchurch Art Gallery does a late night tour. I do believe that's every Wednesday night. They do just sort of a late night tour, which is a little bit different to going in the daytime, so why not?
Here you go. All right, next up we'll talk about where to stay in Christchurch. Okay, so we have Mark that says we get enough of that in the US. I don't need it here. Says he says when I talk about polarized. Yes, I was just making a quick joke. Obviously, everybody is absolutely entitled to their opinions on this channel. If we're staying around the 50-50 mark on do you like or do you not like the background videos, I may just get the Patreons to vote on it, and they'll have the final say. Fabio also said that he googled the Humphrey track, and he says that the official news day will become a great walk in October 2024.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
That would be great. And Dave, even, which I don't think we've ever had you on the channel, my friend, so welcome on board. He says, good afternoon from Walkerville, Michigan. After 5 long years of planning a trip to New Zealand, 5 years, oh yeah,
Ooh.
COVID. We are finally heading this week for a 30-day visit.
Wow.
First scheduled to arrive in April 2020. Wow. So yeah, just I mean, you know, usually anticipation builds up, you know, and it makes the experience exceptional. I think you're going to have the best experience in your life, my friend.
And April is a great time to come to New
we
Zealand
do really
as
like
well.
April. Yeah. We actually had Dave, we do have a Patreon group that you can join if you want to, and that's you know, we actually do weekly group call just after this live show. We do a Google Meet where we all kind of chat together, and it's a lot of fun to plan your trip and everything. And so we had a discussion about the best month not that long ago, about the best month to actually travel to New Zealand, and April was my favorite month. So
Yeah.
I think that you made a very good choice.
Absolutely. And for 30 days as well, it's a good amount of time to spend in New Zealand. Definitely better than the 2-week trip that so many people do. It's definitely worth waiting until you have the time to experience New Zealand to its fullest, because there really is so much to do here. It's really quite amazing.
Adil says, I'm not in favor of the background music because it's just too distracting.
Fair enough.
That's a very fair point, and that's why usually we don't. So that's my personal choice. Usually I don't really enjoy it as much, the background music, right? And when I see videos and everything, I like to just hear the talking, but I'm also trying to adapt to what people want. You know, we don't really do those videos for Robin or for Laura. We do them for you guys. So that's why I'm trying to not have my taste as much as the usual. There's a lot of my taste around, but and try to also give you kind of what you would enjoy. So yeah, that's why we discussed that. So that's great.
News just in on the Hump News, coming from Fabio. They split the whole track into 10 sections. Most of the track is complete, but 5 sections get improvement. Sounds great, to be honest.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Dave Evans says that we talked before, but it was in March 2020.
Oh, well, please forgive me for not remembering. It's 4 years
ago.
Yeah. I don't remember what I had for breakfast today, and it's 8:20 in the morning. So I feel like, what did we have for breakfast this morning?
Oh, we had croissants.
Oh, we had
It was
croissants.
great.
Here you go. That was awesome. That was great.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you still remember us after 4 years, Dave. We do honestly feel quite honoured.
Yeah, I know. That's really nice that you came back here.
Yeah.
Fabio says, I found the background music quite nice, but it is better to have it not too loud. We can try even quieter.
Yeah, okay. Let's try quieter.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it even more quiet. How about that? Minus 56 decibels. I don't think you can hear anything right now. It needs to be somewhere here.
Quieter, quieter. Okay, it's off. That's
Yeah.
the best result.
Okay, we have minus 45. How about that? What's the peaks?
How's that sound working for you guys? We can hear it. Okay, that's good. You can hear it.
So should I go lower than that? So when I'm at 45, I should basically ask and then stop moving the bar, which would be good. So right now, do I go lower? Hey, Kathy! To me, your voice needs to be louder, though. Okay. I can't increase our voices. We're maximum level for voices. So, actually, I could go a little higher.
Okay, how is our...
Okay, so we have our voices a bit louder. Try minus 50. Yeah, okay, I'm minus 50 right here. So Kathy is one of our lovely Patreon, by the way. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's on the Facebook group. So I increased the volume of the mic and I reduced the volume of the music. But right now, it literally shows that the music's not playing.
Yeah. Well, Fabio says it sounds great.
Oh, look, it shows that the music's not playing because it's too low. Can you see? Like there's no.
Yeah.
Like you see where there's that.
Well, maybe that's what. Maybe that's what he was aiming for. Just switch it off.
Can you guys actually?
They say they can hear the music though.
What?
Actually, I can see there is.
Oh, now a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Okay,
Anyway,
cool.
I'll obviously I'll have to watch a replay on this
Yeah.
one and yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. Well, thanks for the feedback, guys.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Okay, so continue asking us all your beautiful questions. Kathy, Fabio, Mark, Dave, all those good people. Dave, you must have some questions if you're like, days away from your trip.
Or maybe, I mean, you've had 5 years to prepare.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's that completely.
Like, you probably already feels like you've been to New Zealand at this point, if you've
Mark
done that
says.
much research. Oh, Max says it stopped.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, cool.
And then it came back just now.
Yeah. So it because it's at 50, basically, as soon as the volume go too low, it's off. So I have to stay around like 48. So yeah, we're gonna try it at 48 right now with our microphone being higher. And Kathy, tell me if you are happy with that. Anyhow, and YouTube tells me to make you guys hit the like button. So I make you. You're forced. Okay. In the meantime, so continue with your beautiful questions. We are going to continue talking about Christchurch, so we'll give you a little bit of buffer time right here. Okay, Laura, where to stay? So what are the best accommodations, basically, in Christchurch? So give us a bit of your rundown of some of your favorites.
Okay, so obviously there is a lot to choose from. There really is a lot. So
Christchurch is a huge city of accommodations.
Yeah, we do have lots of comparison articles on nzpocketguide.com, so I really do encourage you to check those out. But just to pick 5 different ones from the group. Let's start with a nice sort of all-rounder hotel, which would be the Fable Christchurch. So if you want to go having more of a luxurious room, they certainly have really nice luxury rooms there. And they also have sort of more affordable sort of 3-star rooms as well. So that's just a really good starting point for a really good hotel in Christchurch. If you want to go luxury, if you want to go, 5-star boutique hotel, which is renowned for its fine dining restaurant, then the George would be a great option. So that's your sort of luxury option. If you want to go into the budget realm, if you want to go hostel or even just sort of like hotel style rooms that are much cheaper than actually staying in a real hotel, then the Beeley Quarter is a great option, and it is within walking distance of the town centre, so another great option there. If you want to go for, family fun or holiday style, or really just a cool holiday park to park up for in your camper van or motorhome, then the Tasman Bay Holiday Parks in Christchurch, because they have different ones around the country, but the Christchurch Tasman Bay Holiday Parks is a really good one. They have swimming pools, lots of entertainment for kids and that sort of thing, so it really is like a sort of holiday park holiday destination, so that's a really cool one. And then finally, if you want to have a different, like, alternative experience of Christchurch, not staying in the city centre but staying in the more sort of lush green hills, in the Kashmir Hills suburb, then there is a really cool B&B which is reasonably priced, called Sherwood Lodge, and that is it's really popular but a really alternative small scale accommodation to try out.
Here you go. All right, so next up, we're going to be talking about the best places to eat in Christchurch. That's restaurants and food tours. All right, but first, let's go back to the live chat. So, as per usual, you guys can ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. We're here for you. Latest news for the audio. Kathy says that's better, and Fabio says 48 is good. Okay. Cool. So remember, you can vote if we should keep the background music or not for those live shows. So far, 58% are voting yes. That's a very slim majority right here. Fabio also gave us the last hump ridge track news. Sorry. He says the track is finished. The car park will be improved. The storytelling and installments are still in a work in progress. However, some legal stuff with landowners are ongoing, of course. That's the thing that takes the longest. So
Paperwork destroys dreams.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, and yes. I couldn't agree more. All right, continue with your questions. We're going to continue with our coverage of Christchurch in the meantime.
I just wanted to sort of acknowledge the guy at the front of the boat here taking his photos like a badass. Like, he's riding, he is like balancing
He's the captain.
so well.
Him, right?
Yeah, I do remember
okay,
him.
Cool.
But yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing
awesome,
to watch. Anyway, continue.
Laura, the positive soul of this live stream, says Fabio. Oh, bless her heart, as they say.
Yes.
All right, so let's continue with Christchurch. So what are the best restaurants, the best places to eat, and the best food experiences in Christchurch? It's a very underrated food scene in Christchurch. Genuinely, there is some amazing wine regions nearby, and there are some of the largest beer brands in Christchurch as well. So maybe not just food, but also booze. So let's get started with the food tours and the food activities in Christchurch. Laura, take it away.
Yeah, so if you want to sort of take a wine tour of the neighbouring wine region, which is the Waipara wine region, then there are plenty of tours that can take you over there. One in particular is Cheeky Wine Tours. So yeah, if you missed out taking a wine tour in Blenheim maybe or in Queenstown, then you do have a good opportunity to do that in Christchurch. Of course, as I mentioned, there are many farmers markets and various markets in Christchurch. We do have a whole list of them, which is actually listed in our free things to do in Christchurch article, so you can check that in the description below. But yeah, like I've mentioned, the Riccarton Market, Riverside Market as well. There's also the Littleton Market, which is in one of the suburbs nearby. So there's really a lot to choose from, and it makes the city really bustling on a weekend. There's also, so we've talked about the city tramway where you can hop on and hop off, but on an evening they have the Christchurch Tramway restaurant. So you can travel around the city centre and tuck into I think it's a 3-course sort of fine dining meal. Obviously focusing on New Zealand cuisine, so there's that foodie experience for you, which is a little bit different and unique. If you want to do a cooking lesson, they actually do cooking lessons upstairs in the Riverside Market called the Riverside Kitchen. So if you want to sort of, it's more of a locals activity, but you certainly can join in as a visitor, and it would be a different way of experiencing Christchurch for sure. And then finally, in Christchurch as well is the Spirits Workshop Distillery. So they offer tours and tastings there if you want to taste some very potent
and learn a couple of cocktails too.
Yeah. All
right, so let's move on to restaurants. So if you need to just grab a bite, you're not here for a food experience. You're here to grab a bite. Here are about like 5-6 different accommodations where we guarantee you'll be treated to a feast.
Yeah, so let's start off with 5th Street, which is located in Sydenham. This is a suburb, an inner city suburb, so you can access it quite easily from the city centre, but it is renowned really for its fine dining, specifically focusing on New Zealand cuisine with a few international dishes thrown in there. But yeah, if you're looking for a more treat yourself dining experience, then 5th Street is highly recommended. If you're looking for coffee, of course, New Zealand is famous for its obsession with coffee.
Yeah.
The Unknown Chapter Coffee Roaster in the city centre is definitely a highlight. If you're looking for that sort of meat lover's paradise, then Jabba Grill and Bar, located in the CBD, is definitely one to go for. They have charcoal grilled steaks and ribs, all that sort of stuff. On the opposite end of the scale, there is Greater Goods, which is actually a vegan bistro. So if you, they sort of focus on sustainability and food in that respect. So their vegan meals will no doubt change your mind on veganism forever. And then finally, just for, you know, everybody loves a good ice cream, so Rollerkin Gelato on New Regent Street is really popular. They also are open quite late night, and they sometimes blast some music late night as well. So, you know, it's never too late for ice cream or gelato. So,
ice cream after bedtime.
Yeah,
yes.
Rollerkin has you sorted there.
All right, so that's all the best places to eat in Christchurch. We have some more actually on the article linked below, so make sure you check that out. Hit likes as well if you do find this video useful. Next up, we're going to break down a few recommendations of things to do in Christchurch by different travel types, such as families, budget, etc. So we'll do that in a minute. Okay, what do we have in the live chat? Fabio says he tried 5 different restaurants in Christchurch last winter and all of them have been great. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Well, feel free to name drop them right here. Go for it.
Yeah.
Machu X says Morena. The Riverside Market says Fabio, 2 booths, 2 restaurants on Oxford Terrace and the Regent Street stuff.
That's all you need to know.
Nice one. Yeah, how's everybody feeling so far? So we see less questions right here. If you have any questions, even if it doesn't have anything to do with Christchurch, feel free to ask. We are here for you. And don't forget to vote. There is 3 more people that just joined in today. So we're trying a little bit of background music for our video today. Do you think that enhances our video or that makes it worse? So if you can go and vote in the chat right now, and even if you're watching a replay of that, just tell us in the comment. That'd be fantastic for us to know. It's very even right now, so yeah, if you can pitch in, that will help us make a decision.
Every vote counts.
Exactly, every vote counts, and that will help us as well kind of enhance the videos for you guys. So yeah, every vote, every likes. Okay, in the meantime, we'll continue talking about Christchurch. Fabio says, with how many dolphins can I swim in Christchurch?
I think there's about 5 there at the moment.
So you can go to Akara, or you can swim with those beautiful dolphins that we saw on video not that long ago. Hector dolphins, indeed. And you can even drive to Christchurch, to Kaikoura. So from there, you actually are kind of a good place to go do that, because they're all 2 hours drive. So yeah, awesome. All right, let's continue talking about Christchurch. So let's talk about Christchurch for budget travelers. Let's discuss a little bit kind of free or really cheap things to do in Christchurch. So go for it, Laura.
Okay, so gardens, they're free to go to, and Christchurch has lots of them. The Botanic Gardens in Christchurch are definitely a highlight, definitely something that you can do for free on a budget, and everyone should go. Next up, the Canterbury Museum. It's a free museum, so there's really a lot packed in there, a lot to see. So you can spend a good few hours in there getting lost in all its exhibitions, learning about the history, the natural history and the social history of the Canterbury region, which is the region that Christchurch is based in the South Island. You can go to one of the beautiful beaches in Christchurch for free, although, you know, if you may need to either pay for petrol or a bus to get there, but otherwise it is a free attraction. So Sumner Beach and New Brighton Beach are definitely the 2 easy to access beaches that are worth checking out. You can also take a ferry from Littleton, which is a suburb of Christchurch, to Quail Island, which is a really interesting island with a very interesting history.
Yeah, we do have a video of us checking that out on the channel.
Yeah,
so
check out the video for more on that one. And then finally, the Air Force Museum is mostly free. There are a couple of paid exhibitions there, but mostly free to check out some warplanes and some very impressive pieces of engineering.
And one of the greatest things about Christchurch, if you are there on the budget but have your own transportation, is that it's kind of the gateway to a lot of different places, right? So you can head to Akara, which we are currently showing on the video right here. You can head to Kaikoura, you can head to Hanmer Springs, you can head to Methven and some of the Southern Alps. There is really a lot. You can even head all the way to Lake Tekapo. It's actually, It could be a road trip as well. Or you can go down the coast and go all the way down to Timaru or those kind of places. So Christchurch is a very good central base days if you're planning on doing some sort of star-shaped travel from one point and explore the area if you do have your own transportation. So that's worth keeping in mind. When it comes down to budget accommodation in Christchurch, there is plenty on offer. Christchurch is a very large city, and so naming all the different budget accommodation there will take hours. So instead, I will point you to the link in the description of this video, which has the best budget accommodation in Christchurch. All right, next up, we'll do a 180 and talk about luxury travel in Christchurch. Okay. We have Anthony that says, what happened? It's been so long since the video pros, you're frozen. Oh, okay. Maybe you need to refresh because it is not frozen from our side. And Fabio agrees as well. It's not frozen. So good. Sorry about that, Anthony. Just refresh. Roshan has a good question about Christchurch. How safe is Christchurch City to live in terms of earthquake, which happened in 2011? Well, as you said it, mate, it happened in 2011. It's 2024 right now. So get over it. It's been 13 years. So yeah, no, it's relatively safe, my friend. We still receive a lot of questions about it. And yes, there are some shakes in New Zealand. However, we build the buildings with that in mind, and most of the buildings are earthquake safe. And so it's relatively safe. Obviously, you know, events like natural event can occur, but that's pretty much the same thing everywhere, right? If you're on the northern end, well, you're nearby Lake Taupo, or anywhere on the northern actually is one of the largest volcanoes in the world. So if that decides to erupt, you know, the whole of the northern end is going to be, you know, pretty damaged. And so a lot of places have a lot of dangers, right? And it's fine. It's just about weighing it. But when it comes down to, like, you know, casualty from earthquake, New Zealand tend to be in the better ends of the scale, right? Which is large earthquake, very low casualty, just because we're prepared for it compared to like other places in the world. So I think you shouldn't be too worried about that when considering moving to Christchurch or not. Mark says, is it better in Sumner or New Brighton if you like staying by the beach?
I actually prefer Sumner Beach.
Oh, I was about to say New Brighton.
Yeah,
okay,
well, it's good to have different opinions. So, yeah, Sumner Beach I find is just more of a, I'd say, aesthetically pleasing beach where they have like a few caves and stuff, like a few rocky outcrops and things to make the beach just a little bit more interesting than New Brighton, which is a very long stretching beach, but that's really all there is to New Brighton. It's just a lot of beach that stretches for miles and miles.
Yeah,
so,
I like the length of New Brighton.
Yeah.
I like the pier, so I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
We also have Kevin Thomas, which says, "Hi, I live in Christchurch. Hey, welcome, welcome on board. It's always good to have a local here. We are on the North Island, so we only visit Christchurch about once a year." He says, unfortunately, the museum is going to be closed for a few years for renovation. Yeah, we mentioned that early on in the video when we talked about the museum in the first place. So very good a reminder to everybody. And he says the pop-up museum is good and worth a visit, but it's small. It is near the art gallery, so it's worth a joint visit. That's a good tip, actually.
Yeah.
Just do both at the same time. That's really, really smart. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good tip.
Nice. I think we are fishing for crayfish. Oh no, this is a hat. We're gonna get a crayfish later, actually, if I remember that cruise correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And Kevin, how often are you heading to Akara? My favorite thing to do in Christchurch. How often are you going there since you're local? Fabio is also answering to Roshan, saying it depends what you understand safe, Roshan. Christchurch has been a few decades a big earthquake. Yeah. Dave says, any opportunity for sporting event or concert in Christchurch? There is a stadium there, for sure, and Christchurch is home to the Chiefs, if I'm correct, which is their local rugby team. And so, yeah, rugby is basically almost a religion here in New Zealand, right? So if you want to check that out, it's definitely worth going to watch a rugby game with the local. It definitely is an experience in New Zealand.
Yeah, and they do have gigs there, concerts and stuff as well. So, yeah, there is... Obviously, the events calendar is changing all the time and stuff, so it's usually best to go onto the Christchurch NZ website, which is like the local tourism board there. They have an events calendar to sort of go through what's coming up. So yeah, there's certainly things that are going on in Christchurch.
Yeah, and it looks like we're visiting a cave now in our boat tour. That's quite cool. All right, we also have Matua X that says, I've posted a video on your Patreon page. So yeah, Matua X is one of our Patreon subscribers. So when you are joining us on Patreon, you don't only have a weekly group call with us. You also have access to a secret Facebook group where we post a lot of stuff and we answer all your questions. We also help you plan your trip and all those kind of things. So yeah, join us then. Macho X, I will check that during the call in 15 minutes. Wow, this is coming soon. All right. Then we also have Fabio that says, I was so proud of my first grader about 10 years when they asked me about the big volcano in New Zealand. They knew that Lake Taupo is the biggest volcano. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many people actually know that.
Yeah, it's a super volcano.
Yeah. And Mark says, I'm currently booked for Sumner, so based upon your comments, I will stay there.
Cool.
What? You chose your favorite kid right here? You chose Laura over me?
Right decision, Mark. Good
Mark.
job.
I don't know, Mark. I don't know if we're friends anymore. All right. Let's continue as we are getting out of this cave in Akaroa with our coverage of Christchurch, and let's talk about Christchurch for luxury travelers. So the good thing about Christchurch is that it's a very large city, so there is all the convenience of a large city, and also it's located close enough to a lot of amazing locations. So Laura, what are some of the premium tours and experiences in Christchurch?
Yeah, well, speaking of being located close to lots of amazing locations, well, you can easily get there using one of the scenic helicopter flight companies that are based in Christchurch. There's Christchurch Helicopters or Garden City Helicopters, and they offer scenic tours flying over the Southern Alps, seeing various destinations like Mount Cook, or even going over the Banks Peninsula, which is the location this video is being filmed right now. So in Akaroa, they really have some beautiful surroundings of the Christchurch area. So, you know, if money's no option and you just want to
And the views are fantastic with the Canterbury Plains being so flat, you get to see a lot.
Exactly. So there's a lot of beautiful scenery to be had from the skies around Christchurch. More beautiful scenery, of course, can be experienced from the train. So there is the famous Transalpine train service that goes between Christchurch and Greymouth, and it travels right through the Southern Alps, going through the Arthur's Pass National Park with beautiful mountains, braided rivers, really diverse scenery as well, going through the Canterbury Plains and then coming out the other side into the rainforests of the west coast. So yeah, and also if you want to make it more luxurious, then they do have the Scenic Plus class that you can treat yourself to. If you want to experience the Waipara wine region in style, then you can do private tours, specifically with NZSI Tours and Travel. They offer a private tour experience if you want to treat yourself in that way. And more ways to soak up the scenery in a more unique way would be via hot air balloons. So there's Adventure Balloon NZ or Ballooning Canterbury, which do hot air balloons, scenic flights over the Canterbury Plains, and you'll see the Southern Alps sort of in the background there. And then finally, you can do a guided tour of the Port Hills with Crater Rim walks. So just to get more from the Port Hills, more knowledge from a local as well, learning a lot about the scenery that you're seeing and the history of the place. You really get like a lot more from guided walks than just going by yourself. So if you do have the money to treat yourself there, then definitely a guided walk is highly recommended.
All right, and when it comes down to premium accommodation offerings, from boutique lodges to indulgent B&Bs, Christchurch has a lot on offer, and same thing, we do have links in the description of this video to help you pick the best accommodation for yourself. Fabio find hot water balloons, more of a category on Twitch. All right, let's continue covering of Christchurch. Let's talk about Christchurch for families. There is a lot of options to do some fun activities with the little one in Christchurch, and Laura got you covered with a few recommendations.
Yeah, so there's the Christchurch Adventure Park, which is also an area in the Port Hills, but this time you access it via a chairlift. And then once you're up there, there's zip-lining tours. There's also really easy family-friendly walking trails that you can do with beautiful views, going through pine forest, that sort of thing. But they also have fairy door trails, which maybe families would know more what that is than the rest of us. But it's kind of like a sort of people have made pretend fairy doors in the trees. It's quite cute. Another option for families is to do some high wire obstacle course at Adrenaline Forest. So they do have various different sort of level of obstacles to do up in the trees, which makes it really good for families. There's, you know, it's usually like most of them can be done by most ages, but if you just want to do like the lower course, then that's better for with younger kids. There's also the International Antarctic Centre, which is great for the whole family and an excellent rainy day activity, as we did discuss earlier in this video, so definitely worth checking out as a family. The Christchurch City Tram is another really good one for families. That means that you don't have to walk around the whole city all day, being out on your feet. Usually getting the chance to ride the tram is a really good highlight for kids as well. And then finally, the Air Force Museum is great for kids. It's like, when we've been there, basically it's just like all families just go there all the time. So they also have cafe there. It's just a nice laid back place to go if you want to do something a bit more easygoing and you're not always feeling like you're on the go when you're traveling as a family. It's got enough really amazing, like huge planes on display that will obviously keep the kids like in awe, but also, you know, it's more of a relaxing activity to do as well.
All right, and when it comes to accommodation in Christchurch for families, there are a lot of fun-filled holiday parks, especially in the outer areas of Christchurch, and inside Christchurch, a lot of self-contained motels, which could be a great option for families. Next up, we'll talk about Christchurch for couples. Anthony says, stay safe, but I'm here until the end.
Thank you for your signature phrase,
I know,
Anthony.
I like it. All right, so the next section of our guide is going to be Christchurch for couples. So let's get this one done. So if you're on honeymoon in New Zealand or looking for a couples getaway and are heading to Christchurch, which is arguably the most romantic city in New Zealand with all those stunning gardens and breathtaking beaches, then there is a lot of really cool activities to do there, including a day road trip to Akara, because yes, I will convince you to head to Akara on the road trip. Laura, what are the other things to do?
The other things, other than going to Akaroa, is you can do something which is just like, I think it's just been made for couples on a romantic city trip, and that is punting on the Avon River. So
not making puns while on the boat.
No,
that doesn't work, because that's not romantic.
No,
She doesn't like it.
He tried, it doesn't work.
She did not like it.
So yeah, punting is basically going on a flat bottom boat and you have a guy that has a pole that's sort of like pushing you along this nice tranquil river surrounded by various exotic trees and all this. It's just made for romance. So that would be the obvious go-to for couples. But also, you know, getting away from the city, getting away from it all, escaping to the Port Hills, doing some beautiful hikes out there would be another romantic thing to do. And if you're looking for, obviously we've talked about lots of gardens and stuff in Christchurch, but arguably the most romantic would be Mona Vale. It's backed by this glorious mansion there as well, so it just sort of sets the scene for a beautiful day out in the gardens. And then on an evening, you can head to the Lumia Cinemas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's sort of like a boutique cinema experience, and yeah, it's definitely a couples thing to do as well. And then finally, I can't remember what the last one was. Oh yeah, hot pools. That's always a nice sort of soothing romantic thing to do. So the Hepuna Taimawana Hot Pools, which is located in New Brighton. That's a really awesome hot pools complex that has opened in Christchurch in recent years. In the summer months, they do open till a bit later in the evening. So, and I think in winter you can actually stay there to watch the sunset as well. So that will add to the romance if you are going on a couple's getaway to Christchurch. So yeah.
And there is obviously plenty of romantic city accommodation in Christchurch, especially some really cute boutique B&Bs. All right, so that wraps up our coverage of Christchurch. This is pretty much everything we have on Christchurch, but there is much more for you in written form on nzpocketguide.com, and there is a link for you in the description below. If you did find this video useful, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and if you want to support us, join us on Patreon. You can get all personal help to plan your trip to New Zealand, access to weekly group calls, and even access to a secret Facebook group that will allow you to ask us your question all week long and also interact with us. It's a lot of fun. You should join us. It's cheap as chips. All right, see you in the next video. Quick question from Mark first. Is Willowbank Wildlife Reserve worth a visit? Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially if you're traveling with kids. You know, there's a lot of like farm animals as well as native animals, which is a lot of fun too. There's a bit of a New Zealand section with kiwi birds, kaka, takahe, all that. So yeah, no, it's really cool to be able to see a lot of New Zealand native animals. Yeah, in kind of almost their habitat, right? Like kind of like remade their habitat, I guess.
An artificial habitat made for them.
Indeed. Adil is asking, are the family-friendly activity in Christchurch and handicap accessible? Let me rewind a little bit. Okay.
Adventure Park, no.
Probably
Adrenaline
not.
Forest, no.
No.
International Antarctic Centre, yes. Not sure about the Christchurch City Tram, whether they have a wheelchair accessible, if they have ramps or anything.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that.
And then the Air Force Museum, yes, they do have elevators there as well. I do remember they have that, because they do have upstairs areas, but they have elevators, so that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Those ones are there. So yeah, that's that.
That's that.
Cool. And then we have, if you have a few last minute questions, go crazy. We have another 5 minutes basically. I just noticed. I said goodbye and then I noticed we have 5 minutes. Cool. Adil says, what's the theme for next week? Well, next week is Valentine's Day, my friend. So we're talking about the most romantic activities to do in New Zealand. Yeah, that's what we're doing next week.
Wow, that article hasn't been updated in a while.
Oh well, that's what you need
Great.
to do. So
we'll have that ready for you guys.
So yeah, we'll talk about that. We're gonna get beautiful seals. Seals are very romantic, aren't they?
Yes, they
Seal
are.
colony. It smells romance, right? When you go near a seal colony.
Okay, just don't breathe too heavily, but yeah.
So yeah, that's what we'll do next week. I thought I'd time it with Valentine's Day. I thought it'd be funny to do this one. So yeah, and then after that, I have no idea. I haven't scheduled anything beyond that, so I need to get on with it and get it done.
Yeah.
In short. Few last minute questions. What is the meaning of life in New Zealand? I think it's 42 if I'm correct. It's the same number. It's the number in the South Hemisphere, I think.
Yeah. Or is it 24 in the Southern Hemisphere?
Dave says, I'll be there this coming next Saturday. I can't wait. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be fun.
So exciting.
Yeah.
After 5 years of waiting. Oh my gosh.
You don't even have an excuse, like the excuse of jet lag or anything like that. You can't. You just have to hit the ground running and always do a lot of stuff. Yeah. Fabio says, I think it's 24 in New Zealand. Yeah, maybe it's the opposite. Yeah, maybe it's 24. Yeah.
I agree.
You agree? Why is everybody agreeing with Laura today? What's going on? All right. If you're watching a replay of this video, please do let us know if the music was a good idea or not. Again, currently the votes stand at 56% that says it's a good idea, and 44% that say it's not a good idea. This is very even. I'd love to have more people pitching in, but if it stays as that, I'm not joking, I will get the Patreon to vote, because
and nobody wants that.
Yeah. Oh, they got the power. That's only fair. But yeah, we've got to know. Oh, copyright strike from YouTube instantly.
Oops.
Honestly. All right, everybody, you enjoy your week. I am going to jump on a group call with all of the Patreon subscribers, so that could be fun.
All right.
That's it.
See you next week, guys.
Yeah, everybody,
Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye.